Hey guys, welcome in. It is Brad with College SportsCast. Got John Hammonds here with me tonight, and we are here to do our Big Fuss Show, Week 24, Season 2.
Can I please have your attention?
There's all a commotion around here.
What are you talking about?
Let them yap at you.
It's actually very exciting.
All right, welcome back, guys. It is Brad with College SportsCast. Welcome to College SportsCast, the Big Fuss Show. We are doing Week 24, Season 2. I have John Hammonds with me. What's up, Hammonds?
What's up, man?
Crazy night. College basketball, it's every night, it seems. I mean, I don't care what night you pick. It seems like there are upsets every night.
Well, we had Tennessee lose at home to South Carolina. I think North Carolina is trailing Georgia Tech by, 8 or 9 points going into 4 minutes.
They're trailing late. I don't know how much time is left.
Listen, I tell people this all the time, especially when it's going into a rivalry week, like you got Tennessee, Kentucky Saturday, Duke, North Carolina. There's always that little trap game the week during that week. And you can't take nights off in league play because if you do, you're going to get beat, plain and simple.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. And,
well, I mean, this year, honestly, for the past month, it seems like every night somebody's getting beat.
And another thing, too, it's been – and, there's been a lot of top 25 losses this year, but I have never in my life seen the top 10 rearranged the way it's been rearranged all year long. There's been a top 10 team lose every single week, seems like.
There has been multiple top 10 teams, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
So Kentucky is one of them. we was one of the victims. So.
Oh, yeah, we are. We've been beat a couple of times that we were in the top 10. So, but everybody has.
Everybody has.
I had a stat on that. I'll give it to you in a minute. But so every single top 10 team as of right now, because it's not that game's not over with, as of right now, every single top 10 team last week, not this week's, but last week's, had at least 2 road losses versus non-ranked teams.
Well, and
except North Carolina. North Carolina was 4-0 on the road.
And another one, if you really want to get technical here, Texas Tech's down double digits at TCU. So, it's
unranked teams beating top 10 teams. Every single top 10 team had 2 losses at least.
You better come to play every night, I can tell you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so this is the Big Fuss Show. Please go visit homefieldapparel.com. You can get you some premium vintage collegiate apparel, and they have over 180 teams to choose from. Matter of fact, they just dropped last week. They dropped 6 new Kentucky shirts. Check them out. They are dropping new stuff this week as well in a day or two. I know there's before this game, I think it's Friday, they're dropping some new North Carolina and Duke gear before the rivalry game. So check them out. Use our code CSCAST if you're a first-time buyer for a 15% discount. Mm-hmm. Also, we are on WSBN TV Channel 30. You can find us on Apple TV, Roku, Fire Stick, and the comfort of your own home.
Trying to add some more people to the chat. I was trying to invite some folks.
Right. All right. So I'm going to start out tonight with a couple of newsworthy things. So last
Mhm.
night, Zach Edey against Rutgers
Mhm.
scored. I think he scored 26 points. I think, but the point here is that he now is over 2,000 points and 1,000
Mhm.
rebounds in his career. He is the sixth ever Big Ten player to do that.
Yeah,
What do you think about Zach
he's just
Edey
he's
and
just
being in the Big?
unbelievable, man. He's just an unbelievable player. I think he's a humble player. I don't think he's there to show off. He just plays the game the right way. Um, I've always liked Zach Edey. He's going to be a big part of them going forward, especially in the NCAA tournament. Um, they're gonna need some of those guards to step up too, but Edey can't do everything, so they're going to have some of their guards step up and make some plays. I've always said with Purdue, um, I don't trust them in the NCAA tournament until they win
They
until
got
they win one until they win one in the tournament. I'm just going to be kind of taken aback by them because the last couple of years they haven't really done well in the tournament. So the last decade really.
and I have been that way too this year, John. I mean, early in the season, I was saying the same thing. I do think their guard play is a lot better, and I think that bodes well for them this
Yeah,
year. I don't know,
they're a lot
I
better
don't know
team this
exactly how
year.
they're going to turn out in the NCAA tournament yet, but I do think it bodes well, better for
It
them than it
does.
has the last
They're
couple
a
of years.
lot better team this year than they was last year. They're more mature. They have they have some experience now that they can take away from that FDU loss, Fairleigh Dickinson last year. That they
Yeah.
can make it a effort to get past that second round and that first round and not have that hanging above their head. You know what I mean?
Let
Because
me say this about Zach Edey. Um, the game has changed again in the last 3 or 4 years. It's really nice to see that college basketball gets back players, the caliber of a Zach Edey, of an Oscar Sheboy last year, of a Drew Timme, even Hunter Dickinson. I will say his name. Even him. I mean, it's
and
really
I'll even back you up on this. Zach Edey is your traditional big man.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
we
And
hardly
and and
ever see him
I
in
I really enjoy seeing that in today's game. I know that the game has changed. I realize that, but when I don't think the caliber of player like a Zach Edey or a Drew Timme or the players that I mentioned, I don't
Mhm.
think that those caliber of players, if you go back to like 2010 to 2015,
There ain't many.
I don't think there was many of those caliber players returning to college basketball.
Well, what you got now is you got a lot of big guys that can step out and knock the three. You
And
non-traditional bigs.
nowadays, you have guys that are coming back and returning to college basketball, and it's really refreshing for me.
It is.
I'm old school. I come from the '80s. I mean, I remember seeing Michael Jordan play 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, I remember seeing James Worthy play 3 years. I remember seeing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ralph Sampson played 4 years, I think. I mean, I remember seeing Patrick Ewing play 4 years at Georgetown.
Yeah,
You know,
it's refreshing to be honest.
so I'm just saying, I don't think you see these type of caliber players. We wasn't seeing these guys come back to college basketball
Well,
in like
and
2008 through 2010, even 17, really.
and that's like the traditional bigs. You don't see the Shaqs anymore. You don't see the Alonzo Mournings. You don't see
Nope.
um,
The Patrick Ewings,
the Patrick
the
Ewings,
Hakeem
you know,
Olajuwon.
and even back when Maryland had Lonnie Baxter and some of those guys, they don't. There's not a lot of that anymore in the college game now. In the NBA, there is. but
Yeah.
you don't see it a lot in
Not
the
really.
college.
They're still different players in the NBA
But
now.
yeah,
I mean,
there's different ways that they can use them and stuff. But
yeah.
now you have the non-traditional bigs like guys like
Hell, the other
Bradshaw.
night,
Well, you
John
got
Cat,
non-traditional.
um,
Well, what I'm
from
saying,
Minnesota,
you got non-traditional bigs like
he shot
Bradshaw.
14 3-pointers in one NBA game. He hit 10 of them. Don't get me wrong, but he shot 14 3. He's a 7-footer. He shot 14 3-pointers.
Well, here's the thing: you got your non-traditional bigs like Big Z, Aaron Bradshaw.
Yeah.
There's guys that can come out and shoot the three now.
Oh yeah, the game has
that's
changed.
another-
It's not,
That's
I'm not
another
saying,
weapon.
I'm just saying it's good to see some of the old school stuff still in the game. Is all.
Yeah,
I'm basically
I
saying.
do too. I agree with you.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying on it. All right. Also, last night, LSU women lost at Mississippi State, 77-73 last night. That is 2 straight losses. Of course, LSU women was coming off the loss of South Carolina at home. But here is like that. So that gives them 4 losses on the season. They're the defending champs now. Angel Reese is back. But Kim Mulkey, their coach, who is a longtime Baylor coach, won a title there as well, with Brittany Griner and with Baylor, and has been at LSU. I think this is her 3rd season at LSU now. She won the title last year.
Well,
the reason why I'm
gotta
bringing this
look
up,
at-
it was only the 2nd time ever since she's been coaching that she's lost 2 straight games. Kim Mulkey.
Well, and the thing too, it's not so much the losses that they're having; it's who they're losing to. You know, they've lost to Colorado, unranked Auburn, which they ended up losing to South Carolina, which was the number 1 team in the country. But
State
Mississippi
wasn't ranked. They might be now.
And the thing is, this team is still talented. I mean, they got a lot of depth. Angel Reese, Johnson, Anissa Morrow, Haley Van Lith, the transfer from Louisville, Michaela Williams.
Freshman Williams.
That's what I mean.
Williams,
they still got a really good team, but they're not playing together right now. And their defense is really, really bad. Their defense has not been really good because they've been giving up a lot of points in the last couple of games, and that's not your normal.
And I just wanted to bring
Kim Mulkey team.
Before we move on from it, I want to bring up. So I am going on Thursday night. I'm going to Rupp Arena. Kentucky women, going to cover Kentucky women. They are playing Mississippi State Thursday night in Rupp Arena, coming off of this win at home against this LSU team. So,
and right now, the Kentucky women, they're
not playing as good as they, and I'm going to be there to cover it. So I just thought I would throw this in here, and I'm covering women's Kentucky basketball now. So I'll be in Rupp Arena Thursday night. Our show, the Game Day Pick'em, will be Friday night. All right. So finally, DJ Durkin was hired today as Auburn's defensive coordinator. And I say finally because it's been rumored for like a month that it was going to happen. It's been forever, it seems like. And DJ Durkin has been at Texas A&M the last 2 years as the DC there.
Listen, I'm not going to say what I want to say because I'd get banned from the internet. There's a lot of things around DJ Durkin that I do not like. The way he's handled some things, and I'll just leave it at that. I'll let you give your opinion. I don't want to say too much because, well, when you're in media, you don't want to really get out there and say a lot of things.
I mean, so Durkin, he's been at Texas A&M. I don't think Texas A&M has had stellar defenses, to be quite honest with you, the last 2 years. They were a little better this past year, but 2 years ago, they were pretty terrible to be.
Now,
to be honest.
Durkin's a
Now
good coach.
he is
Durkin,
a good recruiter.
Durkin's a good recruiter and good coach, but there's just some things.
He is a good recruiter.
There's just some things surrounding him that kind of it's just some judgment stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just wanted to throw it in the show. But Hugh Freeze hired him officially today to be Auburn's DC.
But I will say this: everybody in college football and all these places, everybody deserves grace. Especially if you do things and you make mistakes. I think everybody deserves grace, though. That's what I'll leave it at that. So.
Yeah, I think so too. Absolutely. I mean, at least a second chance. At least.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. After about 3 or 4 chances, your time's kind of slimming out. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you just keep, you don't ever learn nothing. Then I kind of have an issue with that. But other than that, I agree with you. So the Big 12 2024 college football schedule was released today. Did you catch any of the Big 12 college football schedule?
I haven't really focused. I haven't really been into football mode lately. I mean, there's a few things here and there that I've watched, but I haven't really been keeping up with it.
Yeah, I've been
more into college. I've been in college basketball mode.
It's newsworthy, I think. So the Big 12 is going to be a new 16-team league next year without Texas and Oklahoma. They're coming to the SEC. So you've got Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado from the Pac-12 that are joining to make it a new 16-team league. There was 4 new teams this year in the Big 12. So that means next year there will be 8 additional teams that are not original members of the Big 12. And they released their schedule this today, actually. Some of the notable ones is Baylor and Houston playing each other, Arizona State play each other, Kansas State, of course. It will open, the Big 12 will open next year, September the 14th, with UCF visiting TCU. That'll be the opening game for the Big 12 next year. You can check them out, check out the schedules, check out for your team. I do not sit here and list all of them. I just kind of wanted to talk about it real quick and move on from it, but had a couple of football things there for us. So, and this is a football thing too, John. So, Pat Forty from SI is the one who broke this story that I seen today. That Tennessee is under investigation again. This is for NIL stuff. They just got in trouble in the summer of 2023 and had a bunch of sanctions, had to pay back over $8 million for violations. It was the highest amount any school has ever had to pay back. But this one, John, I've done a little research. This one seems to kind of be around a collective that helped bring Nico, and you might be able to pronounce the guy's last name, the QB Nico, whatever his name is.
I can't say his last name, to be honest.
Yeah, so it seems to be revolved around him and this sports group. It's one of the main Tennessee collectives. It does some stuff for a few other sports, so there is some other stuff involved in this. But I wanted to get your opinion on the story itself. After, SI broke it, it's been on ESPN. It's all over the place, to be honest with you. Kind of what's your thoughts and your initial takes on Tennessee being an.
I think the NIL aspect of it is just a absolute gone right now. The way it's going around college athletics. Now, according to some of the articles, if he was an active player, it would be one thing.
Yep.
But he was
That's what I'm
actually
hearing.
he was actually in high school when this happened.
Yep. And
And
that's what happened. So Florida is under investigation. That was announced last week. That's what happened with Jaden Rashada last year when he signed that big deal. So Nico signed a 4-year, $8 million collective deal with Tennessee, or with this Tennessee collective. And because he was an amateur still in high school, it's a violation. But if he was an active player, it wouldn't be. Is what I was told.
I really don't think nothing comes of this. I'll just be honest with you. We've seen this happen plenty of times, especially with the Florida case, and it kind of just got dragged under, and it was just he just went on and went about his business. But at the end of the day, I just feel like the NIL is just there has to be some guidelines and some boundaries with all this, because
absolutely
it's getting to the point to where it's turning into I've been telling people all the time, it's turning into an NFL free agency during the off season. Everybody's just picking a contract number, and there's ways to do the NIL, and then there's other ways to not do the NIL. And I think there's a lot of schools that really don't know how to work with the NIL. Example, Kentucky's one of them. We had some struggles trying to figure out how to get things together and get the NIL moving a little bit. There's just so much to learn with all this. To me, it's changed the whole landscape of college athletics. They was getting paid before NIL. What are we talking about? Michigan, the Fab Five. Come on now. If you don't think them boys were getting paid,
listen, guys. I had a whole conversation with a group that I'm in today. This stuff's been around. These guys have been paid under the table, under the rug, in the behind back doors. I mean, this stuff's been going on for years. I'm serious. Mm-hmm. So the best thing that could happen is that we actually do it out in the open through these collectives, and you have the paperwork trail, and it's out in the open, and the NCAA actually steps up and makes people go by the regulations. That's actually the best thing that could actually happen, if you ask me. Now, the Florida thing is not done. I think Florida's going to get in trouble over this
eventually. Yeah, but it kind of what I was going at was
a few weeks ago. Florida State got the first punishment, and for NIL, and something similar to this. And a few weeks ago, they actually that collective, they had to cancel. That collective is no more. They banned that collective. They can't even use that collective anymore on top for Florida State. So I'm glad to see that they're stepping up and making some rules and making punishments. You can have rules all you want to. If you're not going to make people abide by the rules, then it doesn't make no difference how many damn rules you have. So, have some discipline and structure, and punishment is what really matters, to be honest with you. I don't know all the details of this Tennessee thing. I'm just hearing about it today. I know what I read about the QB with 4 years, $8 million. I know I read that he is an amateur. He was still in high school. If he would have been an active player, it wouldn't have been. I don't know if all these details are true, but I did do a little bit of research so I could talk about it on the show tonight. And, you know, that's all I know as of now. And we'll kind of dig into that a little bit later. All right. So go back to basketball. The top 20, did you see this, John? The top 20 was announced today in college basketball for the Wooden Award. There was a list of 20 guys, and let me get to the story real quick, and I can tell you a little bit of info about the story. So, of course, Zach Edey is the reigning Wooden Award winner. That's what I'm talking about, caliber players coming back. But I think Zach Edey's, even though he is playing well, I think he has a little bit more competition for the Wooden Award this year than he did last year. I mean, even in a loss tonight, Dalton Knecht scored over 30 points again. I mean, in the last 4 games, he's averaging 32 points, and he had over 30 again tonight in a loss. I mean,
by the way,
you start. That's 5 games in a row.
By the way, North Carolina just lost to Georgia Tech, so that's 2 top 5 teams that went down
tonight. Yeah,
tonight. Yep.
Tonight. All right. Speaking of North Carolina, on the Wooden Award top 20, RJ Davis has been playing lights out all year long. I think if you're asking me right now who I think the top 3 would be, I would pick Zach Edey, Dalton Knecht, and RJ Davis. That would be my top 3. But there are others. Tristan Newton, UConn guard, is on there. Antonio Reeves.
Yeah, LJ Cryer's on there from Houston.
Antonio Reeves from Kentucky is on there. Kansas duo of Hunter Dickinson and Kevin McCullough Jr. is on there. Armando Baycock from North Carolina. Yep. Johnny Broome from Auburn is on there. LJ Cryer.
You know who the most underrated
Donnell Davis.
You know who the most underrated player on that list is?
Dayton's
Jaden Ledee from San Diego State.
Oh,
not a lot of people has heard about this player from San Diego State. They got a really good team. They got such a fun team. They got Donovan Dent. They got Ledee, and then they got Lamont. They got Lamont Butler. He hit the game winner in the Final Four last year. This is a really good San Diego State team. It's going to be another fun team to watch going down the stretch into the Mountain West and into the NCAA tournament. I just thought he was a name that's unusual.
I was going to run through the names. So John L. Davis is Florida Atlantic, FAU. RJ Davis, of course, I already named. Kyle Filipowski from Duke. PJ Hall from Clemson. Deron Holmes II from Dayton is on this list. David Jones from Memphis. Dalton Knecht, Tennessee. Tyler Kolek, Marquette. Ledee from San Diego State that you mentioned. Caleb Love from Arizona.
No, I got that wrong. Donovan Dent plays for New Mexico. I was thinking of Lamont Butler that played for San Diego State. Donovan Dent plays for the Lobos. I don't know why I got those two confused. Okay. I guess because the Mountain West, there's so many good teams out there.
There's at least 5, maybe 6 that deserve.
I get all their players screwed up. But Donovan Dent plays.
Creighton has has one of the players, Baylor, and I don't know how he pronounces his last name. Is it Shireman or is it
Baylor Shireman?
Shireman? I think it's Shireman. I think
It's Shireman.
Creighton, and then KJ Simpson from Colorado is
Yeah,
on this list.
KJ is a really good player too.
KJ Simpson from Colorado. So that's the 20. How this is going to work is in a few weeks, about around mid to late February, they're actually going to drop this from 20 to 15. And then around the 1st of March, they have a vote. And the voters, and all of us can go on and vote. They have a vote, and you will vote for the top 10 and vote for whoever the top vote getter is wins the Wooden Award. But they will drop 5 players in about 2 or 3 weeks, 3 weeks or so. They'll drop 5 players from this list, and then you get to go on and vote for the Wooden Award. So I thought I would bring that up. The Women's Wooden Award also come out today. And since I'm doing some women's coverage, I wanted to talk a little bit about that tonight. I'm going to.
Let me guess. Caitlin Clark is number 1 on the list. How did I not know that?
Well, yes. Yes. I mean, of course, you got Caitlin Clark on the list. If you don't have Caitlin Clark on the list, you need to get out of sports media. Okay.
Exactly.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
That's all I'm going to say. So Paige Buchers is another big name. Angel Reese is another big name. Cameron Brink is another big name. Those 4, I would think, would probably have a little bit of an edge over the rest of the people on this list. But it is 20, just like the men's. It'll be dropped down to 15. You can vote around the 1st of March, and it's announced around the Final Four time, the winners, if I remember right.
It's usually around the Final Four.
Yeah, it's right around the Final Four time. I can't remember exactly, but that's when it's announced. But on the women's side, there are 3 freshmen on this list. Freshmen for the Wooden Award National Player of the Year. Texas Madison Booker, Notre Dame's Hannah Hidalgo, and USC's Juju Watkins. Guys, and I know it's not a lot of guys, people don't want to watch women's basketball, but I'm telling you, women's basketball is loaded with great players.
They are.
If you have not watched Juju Watkins from USC, she's putting crossover moves. She's setting people down. I mean, knocking down shots. She is electric, averaging like 27 points a game as a freshman.
Yeah.
She's electric. Her name is Juju Watkins. She plays for USC, Southern Cal. So there's 3 freshmen on the list. So I wanted to of course name them. We've got Amore from Virginia Tech, Betts from UCLA, Cameron Brink, Stanford, Buchers from UConn, Camila Cardosa, 6'7", just beast of a woman. Honestly, at South Carolina, I mean, she's a beast. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Edwards from Connecticut, Hannah Hidalgo, who's a freshman from Notre Dame that's playing amazing, Mackenzie Holmes from Indiana, Elizabeth. I'm trying to look at this. Kitley from Virginia Tech. I don't know that one very well. Yeah. Tania Latson from Florida State. Ayoka Lee from Kansas State. Anisha Amaro, LSU. Tahina Powell, South Carolina. She's the guard, can shoot it from anywhere. Alyssa Pill from Utah. Angel Reese, LSU. J.C. Sheldon, Ohio State. Jalen Sherrod, Colorado. So there's a men's and a women's Colorado player on the Wooden Award list. And Juju Watkins from USC. She's amazing, y'all. I'm just letting you know. For a freshman, this girl's got a career at USC for a few years. All right, John, now that we did that, pick six. Who's going to be your favorites? And I want the women's list and the men's list. So give me your list. Who's going to be your favorites right now for the Wooden Award National Player of the Year?
I'm going to go 1, Zach Edey. 2 has to be R.J. Davis. 3 would be Dalton Connect. 4 would be Hunter Dickinson. 5th would be Caleb Love. And 6, honestly, I guess I would have to go Antonio Reeves from Kentucky. I mean, he's
playing really well.
He's having an unbelievable year, and he's not so much shooting the ball as much as he's playing really good. Even though Kentucky has not had the best defense, he's their best perimeter defender.
He is by far.
He's by far their best. So that's my 6. At the end of the day, I think when it's all said and done, Zach Edey will probably win it again. I mean, let's just be.
You're probably right, but I'm telling you, R.J. Davis and Dalton Connect have really played some great ball.
They have. And even in the nights that Tennessee's not playing well, Dalton Connect still goes for 28, 30. Like
he does, man. I mean, and R.J. Davis has played. I don't know. I didn't see the final stats. I don't know if he played great tonight or not. Dalton Connect did. I know that. On the women's side, I told you guys, I mean, Caitlin Clark, of course, is the returning Wooden Award winner from last year. So, I mean, she's going to be awfully hard to beat, okay? These other girls are great players too. But Caitlin Clark is just on a level that, I mean, honestly, I tend to think Caitlin Clark could try to play NBA ball and probably make it. I mean, I really do. And I did say NBA ball, not WNBA.
Well, if we're going to do the women's side too, I'm going to put Caitlin Clark 1, Paige Euchers 2, 3 would probably have to be Angel Reese. 4,
Cameron
I would.
My 4 would be Cameron Brink.
4 would have to be Cameron Brink. 5th would be – that's tough. I would have to go with Hannah Hidalgo. I think she's having a really good year for Notre Dame.
She is having. She's a freshman too now.
Playing really well. And
I'm not so sure you don't put Juju 6th. I'm really not.
She's 6th.
That's 2 really freshmen.
And what's so crazy about this is because there's so many great ball players in this Wooden Award that you're leaving out 2 of the top best ones, South Carolina. Like that's how good this whole class.
You're leaving out Pau and you're leaving out Cardoso from South Carolina.
Yeah, which are 2 of the top players in the not even in the SEC in the country.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then Aaliyah Edwards from UConn you're leaving out as well when you do that. She's really Madison Booker, if you pay attention to what Madison Booker, another freshman, if you pay attention to what she's doing in Texas, I mean, you're just like, wow. I mean, I'm going to say this. The women's game has some really good players to keep them coming along, even though Caitlin Clark is a senior, Angel Reese. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The women's game has some really good, fun players to watch. So pay attention. Go find Hannah Hidalgo and Juju Watkins, because I know everybody's paying attention to Caitlin Clark, and I am too. I love watching Caitlin Clark play, but some of these other girls are playing some really good ball, and they're really, really talented. All right, John. So I thought I put it on here. Yeah, there it is. All right. So South Carolina beats Tennessee tonight in Knoxville. And I'm not so much going to talk about Tennessee in this one. Let's talk about the job that Lamont Ferris is doing and has done. And let's talk about how actually South Carolina should not only be ranked, they probably should be ranked in the top 15.
Oh, I most definitely agree with you.
Yesterday, the polls come out. South Carolina was not ranked again, and it was unbelievable to me. And now, after you watch what happened tonight, after beating the 5th-ranked team tonight, the 6th-ranked Kentucky team last week, they are 17-3, 18-3 after tonight.
Well,
not only should this team be ranked, this team should be ranked in the top 15 in the country.
Man, you got to give the game ball, though, to Tyvon Cooper. He's hit some clutch shots these last several games. He had the big shots against Kentucky. But when the game really got to pressure points, Cooper was very composed in this game. He had 18 points. He hit a big 3 late in the game that put him up 6. And some of his big shots have resulted in upsetting Tennessee and Kentucky in back-to-back weeks. Lamont Paris is doing –
man. Like,
their
so
defense
Kentucky was one of the top 2 or 3. They were the highest scoring, but efficiency, they were the top 2 or 3, 4 teams in the country in efficiency, offensive efficiency. Tennessee was in the top 15 tonight. Offensive, I can't say it, efficiency. And they held Tennessee to 59 points at home, and they wouldn't have had that if Dalton Knecht didn't try to go off at the very end and scored 10 points. I mean, they literally had 49 or 48 points with 2 minutes to go in this game.
The thing about this game tonight, from the opening tip, it just felt like the body language, the effort, it just wasn't there tonight for Tennessee. There was just
I think you got to give South Carolina a lot of credit.
That's a lot of it, but there was just no. I just felt like there was no energy.
But Kentucky looked the exact same way last week against South Carolina.
They did, but you're expected to play better at home than you are on the road, though. That's a bigger.
Yeah, I agree. But you got, the team that done it to both of them is South Carolina.
They did. Now, Lamont Paris has a really good team. He's got B.J. Mack, Cooper, Michie Johnson, and now they got Miles Stute. He's back in the lineup after being out with injury. And he nails
hit 3 big threes tonight.
Yeah, he hit some big free throw, and he had some big free throws down the stretch too. So this was a really big win for South Carolina. And this game shows me that South Carolina can win the SEC. Look at this.
They might be able to win the SEC, guys.
They're 6-2 at the midway point.
They're a half game behind behind Alabama.
And they've already got wins and they already got the head-to-head over Tennessee
and Kentucky.
And
Yeah.
that's a big plus. So
Yeah.
there's a real opportunity here for South Carolina to win the SEC if they don't fall apart down the stretch.
Absolutely. They're 18-3. That was the 18th win. They're 18-3, 6-2 in the SEC. They are sitting in the second place of the SEC, only a half game behind Alabama, who is 6-1.
In which Alabama has to go to Georgia tomorrow night, which will be a tough game for Alabama. And Alabama's not a good road team.
Yeah.
Alabama don't play good on the road. So big opportunity for Georgia. And what many people don't realize is that this same South Carolina team lost at home to Georgia. That should tell you how tough this league is this year, how improved the league is. The league has improved big time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Georgia's massively improved. LSU's massively improved.
McMahon, he's really turned that program around. You know,
I'm not saying they're going to win the SEC by any means, but they have massively improved from last year to this year.
Oh, they have, most definitely. You know, you go from 11 wins a year ago to 18 for South Carolina this year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on now. And you go right into Knoxville and win on the road.
And not blink an eye. They wasn't scared all night long.
Not at all.
No.
They played physical all night. All night.
Absolutely. That's why I say, I mean, this team actually looks like they could have a chance to win the SEC.
Well, and another thing, too, with them, you know, everybody wants to look at their defense. Well, South Carolina's not really been known for their offense. They've been more for hard-nosed, grinded-out wins. But they got some guys that can actually shoot the ball now. And that presents a problem for teams. And, you know, especially with Mickey Johnson, which he didn't have the greatest game tonight. He missed some tough shots. He had a big game against Kentucky. But at the end of the day, it's not just so much that Mickey Johnson has to do anything. They got other guys that can step up and do things in his absence. And I think that's what you're seeing with the South Carolina team. If one guy don't have a great night, another guy picks it up. And that's what they did in Tennessee tonight. And props to them. Listen, when that looks on the resume, Selection Sunday, that's going to be an elite win because Tennessee's going to have some really good wins down the road.
And the Kentucky win. I mean, they have two elite wins.
They do. They really
Quad
do.
1A wins.
Yep.
I mean,
they do.
Dalton Connect tonight in the loss. Now, he shot tons of times. So, but in the loss, he had 31 points.
See, what makes this so tough for Tennessee is when you play your home games, you should win your home games, and if you drop a few on the road, you drop a few. But now they're 5-2, right? They have to go to Rupp Saturday night, which is going to be another tough
Saturday night.
It's going to be another tough game. They're staring at 5-3 in conference right in the face.
Hopefully.
I'm not saying. I mean, that's what they're looking at based on what we see right now, is what I'm saying.
Technically, Kentucky too. One of them's going to be 5-3. Well, no, Kentucky's got to play tomorrow night.
Yeah, they play Florida tomorrow.
So. I'm wrong on that.
But
yeah, Kentucky's got to play tomorrow night.
Well, what I'm saying, this loss can't be. You got to regroup, and then you got to get ready for Kentucky Saturday after a hard-fought game with South Carolina.
Well, that's a lot. So I wanted to bring this up. Dalton Connect had 31 points tonight. Okay, Tennessee only had 59 as a team the entire game. The only other player in double figures was Vescovi with 10.
What's that tell you?
Nobody else scored more than 6 points the entire game.
What does that tell you moving forward?
It gives you a little bit of a game plan on how to play them, to be quite honest with you.
Well, the thing is about Tennessee.
You can play tough. You can play tough defense on Connect. Give him his 25 to 35. Shut everybody else down.
Shut everybody else off.
There you go. It kind of gives you a blueprint.
Well, and I even said tonight that for Tennessee to win some of these tight games down the stretch, they got to have somebody to step up besides Dalton Connect. Somebody like a Ziegler, Josiah Jordan-James, which I'm going to be honest with you. Josiah Jordan-James, I don't know what's happened to him. He's not even the same player anymore.
They don't get the ball. It goes to Connect every time down the floor. Which, you can't blame him. The kid's scoring 30 a game. But the last 5 or 6 games in SEC play.
Hey, you
can't blame him for doing that.
If I was a coach, I'd be doing the same thing.
Yeah, you can't blame him for doing that at all. Mm-hmm. All right, so scoreboard. I'm going to go to college.
You want me to do it?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to college basketball scoreboard here, guys. I was going to start. If you want to do it, I was going to start with a couple of the top 25 games from last night. There was only 2.
Well, you can do last night and I can do tonight. That's fine.
Yeah. So last night there was only 2 top 25 games. So Duke went to Virginia Tech and beat Virginia Tech at home 77-67, and then a great game last night in Texas went into overtime. Houston survives at Texas in overtime, 76-72. Jamal Shedd had a really amazing game last night to carry them to a victory.
Hey, All-American Jamal Shedd.
Yeah,
get it right.
Yeah, Jamal Shedd played. He's not on that list of the Wooden Awards that LJ Cryer is, but I'm not so sure that Jamal Shedd isn't the most important player on that team.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
You want me to go through the scoreboard tonight, or?
Yeah.
All right. These are finals.
We'd go through the scoreboard.
Toledo beat Western Michigan 88-63. Mineville, Ohio beat Kent State 71-67. Akron, which is 8-1 in the MAC, 16-5. They beat Eastern Michigan 77-46. Akron is a player in the MAC race, along with Bowling Green, which won again tonight, 81-72 over Ball State. Ohio beat Buffalo 91-70. Central Michigan beat Northern Illinois in double overtime, 84-77. St. Bonaventure beat VCU 67-62. And we have, I wouldn't say it's an upset, but it's I don't know. Indiana beats Iowa at home, 74-68, which Indiana is really tough at home. I'll give them that. Iowa's not really the best. They're not having the greatest of years this year. It's not the best Iowa team. So Boston College beats Syracuse 80-75. Dayton beats George Washington 83-61. Dayton lost to Richmond this past weekend, which Richmond is leading the Atlantic 10 right now. But Dayton comes back and they make things happen and win against George Washington. TCU beats Texas Tech 85-78. TCU is coming on. TCU starting to play some basketball.
TCU is playing good. And Texas Tech was leading the Big 12, by the way.
Yeah. Illinois goes on the road and beats Ohio State. Ohio State hasn't been the same since early in November. They was really playing really well, and then they just kind of lagged off. Marquette goes on the road and beats Villanova 85-80. Kyle Neptune might not have a job next year, if we're being frank, for Villanova. It's not, he's lost to some, the Big Five, Penn.
This is just his second year, though, right?
It's tough, yeah. South Carolina goes on the road to beat Tennessee 63-59. Georgia Tech knocks off North Carolina at home 74-73. Games in progress.
Shout out to Damon Stoudemire.
Yes, Damon
on that
Stoudemire.
one. He's a first-year head coach at Georgia Tech.
Games in progress. Air Force leads Wyoming at halftime 36-34. Seton Hall leads DePaul 31-18 at halftime. Halftime in the Breslin Center. Michigan leads Michigan State 35-33. I want to tell you something, y'all. If Michigan State loses this game, you can kiss the tournament hopes goodbye. Unless they make a run.
12-8. Michigan is 7-13, guys.
Now, if you listen, they can make a run in the Big Ten tournament, but a loss like this would be really devastating. NC State is ahead of Miami at halftime, 33-29. That's at NC State. Clemson leads Louisville at halftime, 34-22. Louisville continues to be a dumpster fire under Kenny Payne. It's getting to the point where it's becoming unwatchable, to be honest with you. If you didn't watch them Saturday against Virginia, I feel for you if you didn't watch that game, because it was a very lopsided game, let's just say. to be frank about it.
I didn't watch it. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. Colorado State is ahead at halftime over SDSU, San Diego State, 37-29. That's in Fort Collins. Utah State leads San Jose State at half, 38-30. Kansas leads Oklahoma State, 44-26 at halftime. Southeast Missouri, SEMO, and Lindenwood are tied at 29. They're in the second half. In the second half of SEC play, Ole Miss leads Mississippi State 60-50. Ole Miss is playing some really good basketball right now.
I mean, they've done well this year, and Mississippi State is no slouch, but they do not play on the road the same way they play at home.
Not at all. Loyola Chicago is about to be 6-2 in A10. Can Sister Jean's team make another run this year? They're pretty good this year.
Yeah.
But Travis Ford might be looking at his final days at St. Louis.
They're not doing real good.
Not at all. Let's see here. Hold on a minute. Gotta get it back. I think that's all of them, man. Or is there a few more?
That might be all of them.
No, there's a couple here. There's a couple here. Hold on a minute. Murray State.
Well, there's a couple.
Illinois State goes on the road and beats Murray State 61-59. Murray State's not having a great year this year. Oklahoma, after a tough loss this weekend, they're on the road at Kansas State 57-44, and they're ahead in Kansas State. Ever since Kansas State had that little incident at Iowa State, they ain't been the same team, man.
Yeah.
They thought that Iowa State was looking in their huddle.
Yeah.
Tang's having a really tough year this year, to be honest. To me, he don't have a Marquise Noel. One of those guys that can just go get a basket. And
well, all I got to say is after his comments last year, I feel sorry for him. I really do.
But that's the scoreboard. There's more games tomorrow night, which we'll probably cover that Thursday evening. Or
it wasn't
Friday.
the loss. It wasn't the loss that bothered me. It was his comments that bothered me.
We got some dudes.
It was his comments that bothered me.
Yeah. But
that's all I'm going to say.
We're at the 60-minute mark.
Every
So
once in a while you get beat, and they played a good game, and it come down to the end, and they outdone us at the end. They did.
yeah,
I'll give them the game. Sometimes you got to have a little bit of sportsmanship, and you got to have. And it was his comments.
Yeah,
that irked me.
we're at the hour mark.
Yep. All right. So, Jerry, I appreciate you being on. Josh, I appreciate you being on with us.
So I got to ask you a quick question before we log off.
Yes, Saturday does have some very, very huge games. If you're a fan of college basketball, you will want to pay attention to the games this Saturday. Well, actually, Saturday and Sunday. There are 4 top 10 matchups. One's on Sunday, and 3's on Saturday.
Yeah,
there are 4 top 10 matchups.
Purdue goes to Wisconsin Sunday. So
Wisconsin, and that's on Sunday. There's actually 4 top 10 matchups this weekend. Of course, you got Duke, North Carolina. You've got Kentucky, Tennessee, and you've got Kansas and Houston.
Quick question before we log off tonight. I just got to ask you a quick question.
Jerry,
have you ever?
You and your 49ers, you have no idea, man.
I got to ask you a quick question real quick. So, did you get a chance to watch Divine Providence?
I did not. Man. I know there was a whole big ordeal with it yesterday with Goodman, is all I can tell you.
Did you see the comments, the orange? They was putting pictures of Goodman in a prison cell. Like they was eating him up yesterday. And I've never, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Matter
of fact, I heard that Goodman blocked some of them.
Yeah, he did. But I'm just going to tell you, This ain't even Jeff Goodman. Yesterday, there was not a lot of basketball games on. But what happened yesterday was the wildest day I've ever seen in college basketball. I've never seen it get that out of control like it did yesterday. It was just out of control, man. Like spaces all night. There was people having spaces up until 2 o'clock in the morning.
People were going nuts over this stuff.
It was
yesterday.
wild, man. It was insane. Yeah. But
Divine Providence, is that what it's called?
That's what it's called. It was a documentary on Ed Cooley, and apparently Jeff Goodman sent he DM'd a.
It was done by an amateur.
I'm guessing a college kid. I'm guessing it was a college kid that he DM'd.
Yeah.
And he told him that he did not like the fact that he did that, and he threatened to put him, I guess, in jail. I'm guessing that's what was said. I don't know. I didn't see all the DMs. But as a media member, I feel like you should know better in those whole situations, though. You should,
Yeah.
But
I agree. It was a messed up day. I was getting dings from notifications and stuff all day long about stuff.
That was wild yesterday.
It was wild. So
it was insane.
So our game day pick'em show, guys, will be on Friday. Again this week. I think we've been doing them on Friday now the last.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to try. Or so. I'm going to try to make this. I'm going to a high school basketball game. If I can't, I'm going to try to do it through my phone and see if it will work. And I'll put it on my dash because I got a thing where I'll sit and while I'm driving, I won't be touching the phone. Everybody, don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. I'll put it on the dash thing and I will try to do the pod with you on my way home.
Okay.
So,
but Friday it'll be February 2nd. It's not going to be the Big Fuss show. I did not change that. I'm sorry. It's going to be game day pick'em show.
But I should be back in time. Is regardless. So, but yeah, Saturday's a big day. I'm excited. You got Duke, North Carolina. You got Kentucky, Tennessee. You got Houston, Kansas. Man, if you're wanting to stay home Saturday, it might be a good time.
Yeah, those are all top 10 matchups. And then on Sunday, you got Purdue goes to Wisconsin.
Yep.
Top 10 match.
Mm-hmm.
So
week.
It's a big week. Clyde says he's not watching the Super Bowl. You know what? I probably will watch some of it. I don't know. I mean, you can't, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to talk about just for a minute, I mean, you can't take nothing away from what the Chiefs have done and what Mahomes has done. I mean, the dude's like 14-3 in the playoffs. He's 28 years old.
Yeah.
And is going to his 4th Super Bowl.
Pretty wild, ain't it?
In 6 years. He's beaten Josh Allen. He's beaten Joe Burrow. He's beaten Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's beaten all the top quarterbacks in the AFC in the playoffs. And
you know who he did? You know who he didn't beat though? Tom Brady.
Oh yeah, I know. But Tom Brady's time in the AFC was about over when he got in.
It was about done, yeah.
It was about over when he got in. But so, and last year he beat Jalen Hurts, from Philadelphia in the Super Bowl. So, I mean, he's beaten Burrow. He's beaten Lamar Jackson now. He's beaten Josh Allen. He's beaten Jalen Hurts. I mean, you have to give him some credit.
Sure. By the way, quick question before we hang up. Are you a Swiftie?
No. You don't even have to ask me that. Lord, no, I am so sick of seeing it and hearing it. You have no idea. I will say Andy Reid was an offensive coordinator with the Packers many, many years ago. That's where he got his start. Brett Favre, he was an offensive coordinator with the Packers. And I've liked Andy Reid ever since. He had a long, long, successful run, but wasn't getting to the Super Bowls. He got to NFC championships a lot. And then he goes to the Chiefs here and having this run with Mahomes and Kelsey and apparently Taylor Swift. I don't know. Apparently. Yeah, you and your Brock Purdy. He's so Purdy. He's so Purdy, don't you think? He's Purdy. All right, Jerry. I'm just messing with you, man. I appreciate you being on. Clyde, thanks for stopping by. Josh, everybody that stopped by tonight. Y'all have a good one, and we will see you on Friday night for College Game Day Pick'em.
Have a good one.